Everybody, thanks so much for listening. If you are listening or seeing us for the first time, we greatly appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe to this podcast. We have amazing people on. We have an amazing person on today telling an incredible story. And he'll be talking about his book, Don't Waste the Storm. It's right behind him when you see him. This is Rod Knoerr. Rod, thanks so much for coming on. I've been really excited to hear you and to talk about this topic. It's
Yeah, excited to be here, and I think I have some stuff that your followers are going to benefit from.
We hope so. In this tragic time, the past 2 years especially, we hope people to lift some people up. There's a lot of people struggling mentally, physically, and emotionally throughout this
Yeah.
time. So let's kick this around. Let's talk about the book quickly. But before we get into that book, let's talk about you. And talking about you, can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and in general and how you got into writing this book, Don't Waste the Storm?
Well, yeah, I've spent my whole life trying to help people realize their potential. I became a dentist after 8 years of being a dentist. I sold the practice. I actually got a degree in theology. I was in church work for 8 years, then just didn't seem to fit. So I came back into dentistry. I regularly go on mission trips. I just got back from Romania. We were 100 miles from Ukraine. But yeah, my wife had a healthcare journey and about 5 years long. And in 2019, we actually went on a mission trip. She was given 3 months to live after about a 3-year fight with cancer in the beginning of 2019. And we moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan, near our daughter, started new treatment. It seemed to work. So we went on the mission trip. This was her fourth time with her cancer. 5 days after we got back, she opened her eyes in heaven. So then, about 8 months later, it's May of 2020, and I'm feeling kind of down. Well, we were married in May, and Mother's Day's in May. I thought I'm grieving. And then I realized, Rob, I wasn't. I was sad for our country. We were in
Yeah.
self-quarantine. The George Floyd thing had just happened, and I thought, I need to write this book. I'd thought about it. I said, because I didn't go through COVID the way other people did. I had a different perspective, and I thought, people that go through storms of life need to hear what Beth and I learned. So that was really the impetus for writing the book. And I kind of wanted to have the rough draft done by the 1 year anniversary of her passing, which was in August 6th of 2020. And I got it done virtually on that day. So then with COVID, it took another year and so much to get it finally out to print. But, yeah.
How would you talk to some of these young people about believing in Christ and kind of getting back into church and believing in something?
Well, I talk about 5 keys of what got us through the storm of life. And the first key was, podcast hosts love when I ask this question. When do you tune an instrument, before or after the concert?
Oh, you're asking.
Before. Yeah, I'm asking.
Before, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't have
sorry.
to be a musical person. And yet, whether you're a spiritual person or you meditate or you gather yourself, me, even when I was in church work, I would have find my quiet time whenever I could fit it in. And about a year before Beth started her journey, I really, I was broke. I used to do way too many good things. So I was always a little short fused. And I started, and I haven't missed a morning. Now, I know millennials aren't going to get up at 5 o'clock like me,
I
but
do.
start the day collecting yourself, whether it's with the Lord, whether it's meditating, whatever it is. And what I am a different person. It's like entering the war. Do you put the armor on before or once you're in it?
Yeah.
That was key for my wife and I. Every morning we spent that time. And I think we just had more in terms of, well, we got a strength that wasn't human. From what we did, people think, I said, it came from a higher power. We weren't writing the book. People just, oh, I can't believe what you did. I said, I'm not that good. Somebody wrote it and used my hands, because who would have thought I was going to be an author? Now I'm contemplating other books based on the reaction to this one. But I think that was it. Spending that time with the Lord for us was huge. A thing that I think would help millennials or anyone here's what I realized when I was going to publicize, to market the book. Everybody says you got to find your niche. It's not everybody. But when I explained the book, guess what? And some of the guy that the marketing company that helped Jack Canfield sell 50 million Chicken Soup for the Souls, I've talked with and I've worked with, and he said, yeah, you're right. Whether it's a health concern, a relational concern, a loss of a loved one, what Beth and I discovered, the answers are the same. The second thing was gratitude, the value of gratitude when things are coming down on you. And I'm going to give you a story. That's the other thing. This book, I have a story that people can relate to with every point. And I think she was months into this, had lots of insomnia, and I kept thinking, I got to up my game. And I'm an avid reader, Rob, but this came from Rod. I said to her, I said, let's pray the ABCs, or say the ABCs if you're not a spiritual person. He goes, what? I go, you pray for someone or something that you're thankful for that starts with A, then I'll pray for someone or someone I'm thankful for, something that starts with B. And we luckily had Z covered. I have a son-in-law named Zach. Rob, in the last 3 years of her life, we never got to Z without her falling asleep.
Yeah.
The value of counting your blessings, and that's the opposite thing that happened in COVID or in any crisis. You just look at why me? Why did this happen? Well, that gets to another thing I want to talk about is perspective shift. If I can keep going, because it leads into it. When a storm of life hits, and this will speak to your millennials that may be struggling, and just trust me, baby boomers, everybody's struggling, okay? It's not just millennials. I have 5 kids, well, 10 if you count the 5 they're married to, they're all millennials. But when about 6 months into Beth's cancer, we went to the University of Michigan Cancer Center for 3 weeks. And as we got there, I said something to her. I said, it's not about us. Now let me unpack what I meant. When a storm of life hits, the first reaction is to hunker down, cover up, isolate, and wait for it to pass. Isn't that what we did in COVID? Most people, let's get back to normal, even though we did discover some new normals that were valuable. Well, I used all of us in school, the who, what, when, where, why, how. Yeah. I call it the who, what, when, where, why, how of perspective shift. There's 3 things you do when you get hit with a storm of life. You say, why me? Why me? What did I do? My wife, she was the most godly, caring, gracious woman. Why? And you wear yourself asking why. Well, then you follow it up with, when is it going to end? When is it going to be over? Because most storms do pass. Terminal cancer is not one of them. And you wear yourself out with that. Well, I hate to tell you, there's only a higher power that can answer the why or the when. We can't. So then we follow it up with one where we think we can control it. What can I do to get myself out of it? And yeah, say with a health thing, you do your due diligence, but at some point, you can't wear yourself out looking for an answer. So those are the ones that are the victim mentality. Now the shift. The what, the where, and the who. What can I do where I now find myself with who is now around me? There's value, there's victory, there's purpose, not pity party. And that's what I meant by it's not about us. We ended up encouraging an entire cancer ward. And we did that throughout Best Cancer. People looked at us, the terminal cancer couple, what is with you? When you say, what was with us? It was our faith. That was what drove us. But we found purpose instead of throwing a pity party. And it was huge, that shift in perspective. And that's why I want to get this message out.
Yeah, no, we need it now for sure. And I'm grateful that you're starting that 501c4. That's needed also. And so we're going to get into that right now as we are heading towards the end of the interview. So talk about Be the Hope. I know it's kind of in the starting stages. I know you kind of touched on a little bit in the last answer, but just tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Where it came from, my wife she hosted a young moms group. She made dinner for 25 young moms every month during her cancer. And in 2019, after almost 3 years of cancer, we went on a trip down south to Florida thinking, okay, her cancer was gone and came back the end of 2018. She's in chemo. We get home and she hosts the young moms. Well, she had a word for the year. She would give them a canvas and they'd paint it. They had a Bible verse. The year before she died, her word was joy. The woman had been fighting cancer 2 years. Her word for 2019 was hope. And she had a Bible verse on hope. It was Jeremiah 29:11. Well, the next day after she hosted those moms, we go into the oncologist. Everything's going good. He looks at us. He said, "Have you thought of hospice? I give about 3 months to live. No warning." Wham. So, needless to say, by August she was in heaven. But we sought treatment. We lived a lot of life in the next 8 months. But about a week or so later, I saw this Beth's name, and I put it in my journal. Be the hope. And the T is obviously the cross of Jesus, and be the hope. Well, then the week after she passed, I got on the thing with Vistaprint, and I want to make a banner for her funeral, and that was Be the Hope. And I've started a Facebook group, and I want to drive it. At the end of the book, I talk about everything's going to be with Be the Hope. But here's the other thing. A year into Best Cancer, we lived on a lake in southern Michigan, and there was an abandoned Girl Scout camp on 20 acres right across the road from us. A year after she started her cancer, we approached the owners, who were retired women whose dad had built this building in the 50s, and we bought it. And my sons and I renovated it, and that's going to be the Hope Retreat. We're going to open it to churches, schools, and hopefully, I don't call them support groups. The Be the Hope groups, because support means you got to lean on somebody, right? And everybody's looking for an excuse to. So my Be the Hope groups are purpose groups, because in my Be the Hope groups, I encourage them to encourage other people, to serve others, and that it works. I watched widowers' depressions and widows just go away when they started to encourage their neighbor during COVID, even though they might be social distance or doing something, bringing someone a meal. So that's the dream of Be the Hope. And I was certified as a leadership coach right before Best Cancer. So I'm going to probably bring that into it. They'll be speaking, coaching, and the retreat is what Be the Hope's going to be.
Again, when the chips are down, when you're struggling, the people that are there, those are the true friends,
Yep.
your true husband, your true wife, whatever it may be. But there's also the people, when the chips are down, they say they're your friends, but they never call. They don't want to be around. They got other things to do. And, you prove it there with, what you're speaking about.
What I found with most people, Rob, a lot of people care. They're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing. And I got to tell you, I can't tell you how many people reached out to support me. And you know what? Sometimes it's the mindset of the person going through the storm. Maybe the wrong thing comes out of their mouth. They mean well. They're trying. They're scared. They don't know what it's like to lose a loved one or to deal with what you're dealing with COVID. But if they at least try, that's what I tell people. Just try. Just don't say anything except I'm thinking about you. Or if you're spiritual, I'm praying for you. Or if you see them, now we can, I guess, give them a hug. We couldn't before. But, I was going to tell you the humor thing. It came back. Yeah, my wife did something that made her so self-conscious in 2016 so she could live life. Can you imagine what she did when she was diagnosed with cancer and she wasn't supposed to go out because she could catch something due to her chemo? What do you think my wife did?
You guys went on a trip? I don't know.
No. In order to live life, my wife in 2016 wore a mask in public.
Oh. Yeah,
everybody thought she had a disease she was giving somebody else. 6 months, 9 months after she's gone, the world's wearing masks. So that's my humor for the day. She's up there cracking up, going, "What's with it?"
The people, everybody wearing a mask. Yeah.
But I mean, and it cracks me up when I think about it. She was so self-conscious, not knowing the whole world would have a mask on shortly after she passed.
She definitely knows what's going on and what went on. So I'm sure she's in heaven thinking about those things. But let's go and end with this. So again, don't waste the storm. Definitely check it out. Rod, where can people find more about you, get the book in general, and just learn about the story?
Man, I'm telling you, the websites with the publisher is like days away. The best way is my my last name, my first initial, last name 7 at Gmail.
Okay.
Or rodk@bethehope.net. I mean, that's going to be my email for that. I've been so busy promoting the book that everything else has been put on hold. It's taken on a life of its own lately. It's been, and like I said, I could care less. I just want to get this message of purpose and hope out for people, because there are so many people that can make a difference in the world. And that's what my Be the Hope Facebook's about. We're not going to change the world with big bucks from the government, big programs from churches. It's going to be simple Be the Hope moments.
Yeah. Well, you know what? People need to stop watching all the gobbledygook on TV with the Kardashians and all the other nonsense on there, and just go out and do something for someone else,
Yep.
or just get
Well,
outside in general.
when I started the Facebook group, it's not that big yet. I put a lot of effort, but it was like, I don't want to hear about politics. I don't want to hear COVID. And I always said that I'd like to have a radio station that's just talked about what good things people are doing, because they're doing them every day. And I'm
Right.
hoping as the book sells, we're going to drive people to it. So yeah, anybody who's listening, Be the Hope is on Facebook. Join the group. We just post simple acts of kindness, otherwise known as Be the Hope moments, and just have fun seeing the different things people do. I mean, someone just posted about a young Abdul came up to this African American cop, and he had been having a tough time, and he just wanted to pray over him. Just said, he was expecting to hear somebody complaining, and he just, I think I was so blessed by it. Just simple acts. Well, how long does that take? You know, yeah.
Rod, you're doing amazing work. I do hope people go out and search for the book on Amazon. Don't waste the storm. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, your local
Yep.
bookstore.
Westbow Press is the publisher. And then, like I said, my last name 7 at Gmail. And I would love to come and speak. And I have 5 kids, so I do know what millennials are. Teenagers. I have 13 grandkids. So as much as I'm a little older, I can relate to all age groups. Yeah, I've got a couple
I hear
teenage
you.
grandkids now.
Well, it's a story that's related to,
Yeah,
teenagers, because even young kids, teenagers, they could be going through a storm, depression, maybe
they are.
somebody in their family member died. So this can go through
Yeah,
anybody living on our earth right now. So I definitely check it out. Rod, it's a pleasure. Let's
thanks.
definitely do this again. I really appreciate you.
Okay, Rob, you take care. Appreciate it. Thanks.